Welcome back to Isasnora Snores, where we bring the characters to life. I'm Elizabeth Power, your narrator. Last time we listened as Isasnora and her friends gave thanks. Lady Rosalind, Isasnora's grandmother, fainted when she saw Mongoose the giant. When she woke up, though, she encouraged everyone to say what they were thankful for. Humple Dumple had a difficult time because he claimed everyone was taking his ideas. He finally said that he was thankful he could fly, and gave everyone rides for the rest of the afternoon. It was December 24th, Christmas Eve, in the forest Pediole. A blizzard had been roaring for the past 3 days. Isasnora was stuck inside, wondering if her friends were safe and warm. Her mother was painting, and her father was building another clock. Both gifts for the king to present to another king in another kingdom. Boredom was something that affected children even in Isasnora's time. She wanted their attention.
Would someone play a game with me?
Can't you see your father and I are busy? The king expects these done at the new year.
I thought he banished us to the forest. Why are you being nice to him?
It is important always to be nice, even when others are not nice to you.
I think you're being nice because he's the king. He gets away with being mean, but we have to be nice or our heads will get chopped off.
Isasnora!
We will celebrate Christmas, won't we?
Of course.
How can we? It's been snowing for days. There are no gifts and Mongoose is gone. Usually he brings us meat or fish. We've been fasting all Advent. I guess we'll starve this Christmas.
Christmas is not about food.
It is if your stomach is rumbling.
I thought you were practicing being thankful. You do have much to be grateful for, like a warm house.
They looked at the fire in the hearth, which was shrinking with each passing moment. The weather prevented anyone from going outside to gather more wood. They were all wearing their cloaks and blankets.
I guess I'm grateful for Basir's tea. Could we make some?
Yes, that will help put us in a happier mood.
Isasnora watched her mother prepare the tea. Sir Caleb put his clockmaking aside. It was time to celebrate Christmas.
Who is Basir, and how did you meet?
We have told you this story 100 times.
But I want to hear it again.
We were delivering a portrait to King Frederick. It was a picture of himself to present to the Queen for Christmas. We were waiting outside the great room because the king had a visitor.
I was curious, so I peeked through the crack. Mysteries filled the room.
Mysteries?
They're not mysteries to you anymore since you know the story.
Tell me again.
I had to look for myself. There, in the center of the room, was a man wearing a large head covering, which reminded me of a mushroom.
Turban.
Yes, dear, I know, but I wanted Isasnora to visualize it. It was a golden silk turban, piled high on top of his head. Next to him was a large basket, in which he pulled out rugs, Persian rugs, one after another. How could he have all those rugs inside that basket? I wondered to myself. Each one was brighter and more beautiful than the next.
Then he waved his arms. That's odd. I was thinking so much about Basir that I thought I heard a camel.
Camel?
An animal that lives in the desert. As a trader, Basir needed one. I thought I heard a camel, too.
Isasnora ran to the door and opened it to snow and wind pushing through the house and extinguishing the fire. When the wind subsided, Isasnora stared at a man who stood about her father's height. He had large brown eyes shaded with black eyebrows.
Isasnora, shut the door.
There's a strange man here with a rather large animal at his side.
Am I strange, Isasnora?
How do you know my name?
Everyone knows the girl who is banished from the kingdom Kaland for her snoring.
Isasnora slammed the door and bolted it.
Who was it?
No one. Let me get the fire started again.
The door slammed open. A raging fire blazed to life in the hearth. Isasnora turned to see the strange man who was wearing a mushroom-shaped hat.
Isasnora does not care for my humor, even though she drinks my tea.
Basir? You're Basir? How did you get here?
In answer, a camel pushed Basir to the ground and entered. It fell on its front knees as if kneeling, and the back legs followed to sit down. There were blankets and baskets draped over it. Sir Calum and Lady Morella jumped up to rescue Basir.
Pheromone is tired. We have traveled far.
We have not seen you since that day.
What day?
The day we had to say goodbye to our friends and family.
Oh, it is all my fault we are stuck in this forest and not able to celebrate Christmas.
Let me quote my favorite poet, Sadi Shirazi. Have patience. All things are difficult before they become easy.
How long will I have to wait until things become easy?
Life is not about being easy. It is about learning to accept the challenges and grow from them.
Do you have more tea?
Did you run out?
No, but I wanted to change the subject. You sound a lot like my parents.
Isasnora, mind your manners.
Sorry, Basir. Isasnora is out of sorts. She has not been able to see her friends, and the king has not sent his usual Christmas gifts because of the snow.
I appreciate honesty if it is wrapped in honey.
As if by saying the words, a large container filled with thick amber-colored liquid appeared. He set it on the large wooden table.
Tell me, what gifts were you looking for, child?
Anything, I guess.
Yes, Pheromone. Your idea is splendid.
Basir opened a sack on the camel's back and pulled out something wrapped in red silk. He handed it to Isasnora. She unwrapped it to reveal a doll, wearing a dress of the same red silk. It had raven-black smooth hair, almond-shaped brown eyes, a snub nose, and tiny lips.
She is beautiful. What is her name?
You name her. She is from the lands that Marco Polo traveled. I am pleased to see you have found favor with her. Lady Mirella, here are more painting supplies.
He went back to the sack and pulled out large, blank canvases, several of them. How did they fit? Isasnora wondered. He also pulled out brushes and jars with brightly colored paints inside.
Sir Callum, for you, more tools for clockmaking. Do you have any paintings or clocks you wish me to trade?
Isasnora found her self-portrait with a swollen forehead and the elephant-sized ears.
What about this?
Basir stared at the painting for several minutes.
Your talent is to make others laugh. Even Pheromone is laughing. Ah, but let us eat.
We have nothing prepared.
It is Christmas. We will have plenty.
Back to the camel Basir went and pulled out plates of food.
Before I forget,
Basir pulled out a red, blue, cream, and black carpet. Squares, triangles, and squiggles decorated the exotic rug.
woven by the Kashgar nomadic tribe.
Without moving any furniture, the rug magically rested under the large wooden table that Mongoose had built. It brightened the dark room. They sat down to eat, and Isasnora tasted food she had never eaten before. Chicken on a stick, lamb in a stew, flatbread which was warm and soft, and rosewater. Isasnora wished the night would never end.
How long will you stay with us?
At least till Christmas. Do you want to hear a story? It is about the first Christmas. An ancestor of mine was there.
You come from one of the 3 wise men?
Basir laughed.
No, but my descendant secured camels for them and arranged for a caravan. Bandits and thieves could have easily taken off with the gold, frankincense, and myrrh they were bringing to the babe. Darius, my descendant, shared the same name as Darius the Great, but my descendant was not so great. He was shy, nervous, and was a sheep herder.
So he wasn't a traitor like you? Then how did he find the camels and caravan?
Isasnora, let him tell the story.
Though Darius was shy and nervous, every night he took food from his meager supper to feed the poor he would meet along the road. One night there was a man, alone, abandoned and moaning. Darius approached him but quickly stepped back. The arms and legs of the man were missing. He had the spots all over his body. He had leprosy. Do you know what a leprosy is?
Isasnora nodded.
Even though Darius was afraid, he approached the man and fed him. He took off his Hamadan blanket and covered the man, who smiled and told Darius to follow the star. It would show him where he needed to go.
Follow the star? The star of Bethlehem? The star above the manger?
The star would first lead him to the wise men, then to Bethlehem. Darius's family and friends laughed at their story. They went to find the leper, but he was not there. Determined, Darius sold his sheep and headed on the long journey. 3 years.
3 years?
Basir nodded. He told of Darius's run-in with the thieves who had robbed him and left him for dead.
A sand draped over Darius. A merchant tripped over his body. When he realized Darius was alive, he took him to a caravanserai, a place where traders could find food and rest. When Darius recovered, he told the merchant about following the star. The merchant gave him money and 4 camels.
Basir stopped telling his story and went back to Fairmont to pull out large, dark-looking bread speckled with dried fruit and nuts.
Let us have some fruitcake. I stopped over in Rome and picked it up. Do you like fruits and nuts?
It depends. I'll try it.
It took Sir Caleb a long time to slice each of them a dense piece. Isasnora thought hers felt like a brick. She took a tiny nibble. She didn't want to be rude to Basir.
This is magical and wonderful. I feel as if I'm in another world.
I am pleased to see you have found favor with it. I will leave the ingredients for you to make your own fruitcake. Let us get back to the story. Darius recovered and traveled by night to find the kings. He missed his tribe and began to wonder if his family was correct. As in many of life's situations, he was about to go back home when he found the wise men. They were preparing their journey but had no means for transportation.
Isasnora took another bite of her fruitcake. From Horace's stories of the desert, she tried to imagine Darius and his 4 camels trudging through the mysterious land.
I will save the story of their journey for another time. Tonight, let me tell you of the night. When they arrived in Bethlehem, people crammed inside the tiny town. There was a lot of singing and dancing. The wise men asked the people about the new king and where to find him. No one knew. Darius suggested using the star again to guide them. They did. It led them to a cave which was used as a stable for animals. The wise men were shocked. How could a king be welcomed into this world in such a humble home? They bent low to enter through the opening and squeezed their eyes shut when a light stronger than the sun struck their eyes. Once their eyes adjusted, more surprises awaited them. The Mother Mary held the infant. She wore a brilliant blue veil and covering. Her face was so beautiful and peaceful that it was hard to believe she had just given birth. The infant, Jesus, looked like an infant but his body glowed like the sun as he slept. And the father, Joseph, approached the wise men and Darius. They offered their gifts. Do you know what they were?
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Those were from the wise men. What did Darius give?
There were more gifts?
Of course, it was a white linen, a burial cloth, the very cloth they wrapped him in when he was buried.
I don't think that's a very nice gift to give to a baby. Maybe a doll or a ball, but something to wrap your body in?
Remember, these were for a king. Once they presented their gifts, they asked to touch the babe. Joseph and Mary said yes. Each one took their turn. Darius was last. When his hand touched Jesus, warmth, love, and acceptance filled his body. At that moment, he knew he had done the right thing in following the star and helping the wise men. When he looked up, he saw the leper, who was no longer a leper, but an angel, glowing and bright. He smiled and nodded at Darius. For helping the leper, Darius was given a great gift, to be at the birth of Jesus. That is the end.
What happened next?
That is another story. Pheromone and I are tired. Once I put in my earplugs, I will asleep on the rug. Rest well, Isasnora. Tomorrow we'll celebrate more.
The trader and his camel were soon sleeping. Isasnora bent down to stare at the tanned face of Basir.
Isasnora, let him sleep. He is exhausted.
From traveling so far to give us the best Christmas ever.
That night, Isasnora dreamt of Darius, angels, and baby Jesus. Images of fruitcake also floated in her dreams. The next day, Basir provided them with another feast in fruitcake. He told more stories of Darius. When he left the following day, he took the snowstorm with him. Isasnora ventured outside to create snow castles and look for her friends. She wanted to tell them all about Basir and his stories.
Her friends were nowhere to be found, but her parents put aside their painting and clockmaking to frolic in the snow and play games with Isasnora. This was one of Isasnora's most magical Christmas. I hope yours is as wonderful. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carol L. Power, author of Isasnora Snores. We hope you enjoyed this special Christmas story. You may get your own copy of Isasnora Snores at Black Rose Writing, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Cheers!